Confusion cannot lead a nation. You cannot lead a people with no plan. You cannot build a future with borrowed allegiance. And you cannot claim sovereignty while hiring enforcers to guard the gate. Hello, everyone. It's SkyWalker. The PNP are what's left of it. By putting themselves forward as prospective candidates to lead Jamaica, also puts forward an insult against Jamaica. Their expectation of mediocrity is too far below the Jamaican standard. We have passed that level. We left them there in the 90s, and Andrew Holness and the JLP has been elevating our level since 2016. But what does the Mark Golding led administration have to offer? Nothing but alienation. Mark Golding himself is an alien in Jamaica, and he has a good reason to be clueless about us. How can he serve us when he knows nothing about us? Neither did he ever have a pro Jamaica legacy. He was born and grown in a way to hate and detest the people like us. But now we have an election, and guess who is on the ballot? Without any allegiance to Jamaica. But I hear he has his allegiance with Quest Security. Well, allegedly. He can plan with Quest, but with us, he has no clue. All he does is hate, criticize, protest, and call for war. Why do some people love to see black people fight against each other? No plan, just protest. That, that's all he brings to the table. Mark Golding's PNP is not a movement of vision, it's a movement of reaction. No blueprint for land reform, no strategy for economic uplift, no clarity on crime beyond slogans and symbolism, or as he himself rolling with the gangsters. They oppose every good thing, not because it's wrong, but because it's not theirs. That's not leadership. That's confusion. That's hate. That's division. You can't run a country by becoming a window wiper when the nation is trying to build the car. You need to set good examples. Blood, fire, and empty rhetoric. That's what they do. The chants of blood and fire may stir emotion, but they do not build roads, schools, or justice. Gang affiliations whispered in corners, symbolic gestures that mock the pain of the people, a party that dances with chaos while the nation cries for clarity. You cannot lead the people by echoing the streets that bleed them. You cannot lead the people by echoing the streets that bleed them. The legacy of strong arm politics. From Michael Manley to PJ Patterson, the PNP built a street level army. Bury Boy and Fedamap were infamous enforcers, protected by ministers and immune to police action. Immune to police action. Immune to police action because that's how they set it up. These men didn't just secure votes, they terrorized communities, chopped union leaders, and stormed political offices. The garrison politics of Arnett Gardens and Trenchtown were built on violence and loyalty, not vision. Mark Golding should not even think about coming back here with this thing that we have outgrown. They didn't build concrete jungle, they weaponized it. Charlie Badness was one of the more recent enforcers, a PNP strong arm man who fell out of grace. His story is not unique, it's part of a pattern. Enforcers are rewarded with jobs, contracts, and protection. We can remember men being given jobs at hospitals and other public offices, not for merit, but for muscle. These moles are still in all these jobs all over the country, schools too, and some over even 60 today are still in these jobs. They are still paid, still part of the machinery to call up and to cripple or sabotage because they were embedded as moles. Moles, just like Pantan was embedded in the IC as a mold, so they can always call them out for destabilization. You cannot run a country by hiring the men who once held it hostage. Crime as currency. This isn't just history, it's current practice. Crime stop rewards are flowing. Millions paid out to tipsters, some of whom are embedded in the criminal network. So now it's a way to make money. The line between informant and enforcer is blurred, and this is the legacy of the PNP. The PNP's legacy of empowering gangs has mutated, but it hasn't disappeared. They work along with them. They create crime stop and then turn it as a means to put money into their hands. You cannot fight crime by funding it. Mark Golding's British ties raise a deeper question. Can you serve Jamaica if your allegiance is still bound to England? British law is clear. Loyalty to the crown is not optional. So what happens when Jamaica needs a decision that England opposes? Does our Prime Minister bow to Buckingham? You cannot serve two masters and you cannot lead a sovereign people with borrowed loyalty. Sovereignty requires clean hands. This is not tribalism, this is truth. Jamaica needs a leader with vision, allegiance, and strategy. So when you shake that person's hand, you shake a clean hand of honor. Not confusion, not slogans, not criminals in uniform. At this moment, we see Andrew Holness and not Mark Golding. So Jamaica has but one choice. Jamaica has but one choice. Please like the video and spread the message. Even share and subscribe to stay with the movement. This has been a Skywalker commentary. Yes, we are watching and we ain't mincing words.